You want to know what happened to me today at work? 3 things happened to me at work. Well, it's complicated. Okay. So, first thing that happened to me at work is I had a whole wooden panel, probably about 30 pounds, fall on my big toe. Great. It broke my cuticle. And it was bleeding. Second thing that happened to me today was I was outside with my dog after I got home from work, and I literally busted my butt on the ice. Like, I'm telling you, I slipped, went up in the air, and fell. I'm not even kidding. And the third thing that happened to me today was I was doing another wooden panel, and it freaking, like, fell out of my hands and freaking busted my shin, and now it's scraped. Can you tell that this week has been a good week? Yeah, it's been wonderful! No, it hasn't. It hasn't been wonderful. It's literally been a terrible week. I was going into this week I go into every week being like, this week, it's a new week. It's the beginning of February. It's a new month. Great things are going to happen. And this is what happens. This is what happens. And I'm sick of it. Anyways, I have been obsessed with this one Brazilian meme. It's so... Okay, all the people in the comments, whenever I see the meme come up, I laugh. But, like, obviously, like, I'm not Brazilian. And everyone in the comments, they're like, this isn't a meme. This isn't funny. People's humor is broken. Like, this is just... Okay, I'm gonna tell you the meme. Okay, so it's basically this kid that, like, is just walking through his house and, like, goes to his fridge, and he thinks that there's only water in the fridge, but there's, like, Coke Zero in it, and, like, he, like, screams. It goes like this. It goes like this. Okay, it's like, ai, eu acho que eu vou tomar uma coisa, né? Eu acho que só tem água. Tem Coca Zero! Que delícia! I think it's so funny. Every single time I watch that video, it just makes me laugh. I don't know why. And plus, like, it's, like, one of the first, like, funny things. Like, okay, that's not true. Because that wasn't 2025, though. There was, like, this meme of some politician getting hit with a chair. I remember sending it to my friend, and we were, like, laughing about it. But it was, like, the Tenko Caseiro is, like, it was the first Brazilian meme. At least I'm not Brazilian, so I can't really speak on this. But, like, at least online, this is what I've been hearing, okay? It was, like, the first meme to, like, come out on the internet in 2025. However, debate in the comments, who, like, it's literally just a meme. I don't know what I'm talking about. But, now, while we're on the subject, I've mentioned briefly that, like, I was going to move to Brazil. Obviously that didn't happen. I'm here in this place that I don't want to be in. And, it was unfortunate that I wasn't able to go, but you know what? Like, it just wasn't the time, I guess. That's what I believe. It just wasn't the time. There might not ever be a time, I'm still going to go visit and stuff like that. Go visit my host family down there, visit all my friends that I made and stuff like that. But, maybe in, like, 20 years, like, I could, like, go, like, and live there or whatever. Like, I don't know what the Lord's plan is for my life, but you know what? Like, right now we're doing other things, but, like, my heart is still in Brazil, and I love Brazil, guys. I am just obsessed. I'm obsessed with Brazil. Brazilian politics is hilarious. So much stuff is happening in Brazil right now, but it's such a great country. It's beautiful. The food is amazing. It's like a breath of fresh air when you go, and it's a different culture. People are nice, people are warm and welcoming. They're, here, you go to the back alley and, people are individualistic and, it's not community oriented, and just like people aren't friendly here, especially like in New York. Friendly people, hello, you don't talk to strangers. You can talk to strangers there, like there's just so many different things about Brazil that just makes it such a wonderful place to be. And I can't wait to go back. Hopefully I'm able to go back in December. But I remember like, what was it, like a couple months ago, like I was trying to memorize the Brazilian national anthem. You know what? Let me pull up the Brazilian national anthem, because let me introduce you guys to this fun. I just love it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Here it is. Yeah. Lyrics. Yeah, lyrics. Okay, guys. If my pronunciation isn't good, you know what? I'm still learning Portuguese. I'm gonna be learning Portuguese for the rest of my life. Okay, but it goes like this. Okay, so picture like the drum. It goes boom, 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 boom. That's in the background. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Ouvindo a Ipiranga as margens flácidas de povo irónico de brado rumbante. Eu sou de liberdade em raios fugidos, brilho no céu da pátria nesse instante. Seu penhor dessa qualidade, conseguimos conquistar braço forte. Em teu seio, liberdade, desafia nosso peito à própria morte. Pátria amada, doutorada, salve, salve. That's basically how it goes. I love it. I think it's so fun. My pronunciation was not that good, but like I haven't heard this in like 2 months. So, and like some of these words, I don't know, especially with like the accent and stuff like that. Sometimes it's really hard to just like enunciate it how they would in the South, because like when I stayed in Brazil, I was in Santa Catarina, which is in the South. They just have, it's not like the typical carioca or, what are the common accents of Brazil? What are the common accents of Brazil? You have carioca, and then, okay, this is not what I was looking at for. This is not, baiano. Yes, that's the other one that I was looking for. Mineiro, yeah. I don't know. So baiano, and then, yeah, just like, I don't know. I just love a Brazilian accent. I just love Brazilian people. I love Brazilian people. They are just like, they are my people now. And I love all my Brazilians. And I will always shout out my Brazilian people, and just like, the community that has like brought me in as, this little white boy from Central New York. I love you. So, anyways, I don't know why I started talking. Guys, I told you guys, this has not been a good week. Just so much stuff is happening. And so we're going to get into it. Let's update you on some things. Okay, so I'm going to call this segment, Things That Annoyed Me at Work. This is what I'm calling this segment that, I've been doing every single week. What annoyed me at work? What got me irritated? Okay, so the first thing that irritated me. Okay, so to preface this story, I have an Indian boss. That's it. Okay, that's the context. So, in this story, I'm basically cashing out this old woman. That's key, again, for every single story in this episode. Okay, old people. Okay, seems to be a reoccurring theme. All right, so I'm cashing out this old woman, and my boss comes over, helps me with something, and he walks past us that way. And she goes, "Is he your dad?" My eyes like start twitching, going sideways, going like I'm glitching in the Matrix. And I go, what? And she goes, and she literally goes, that guy. She like turns around and she's like, that guy, is he your dad? And I'm like, no, that's not my dad. Do we look alike? No, we literally, oh my God. Like, I still cannot process why she even thought she had to ask. Like, what? Oh my God. Like, I don't know what was going through her brain. I really don't. Anyways, the second thing that happened to me in this past week at work, one of the manager's sons, so the manager, is on her way out, basically. She's like 78, and, all her kids are literally in their 50s or 60s, whatever, I don't know. And, I don't know, he might have something going on up here. I have no idea. I don't talk to him. I don't talk to this manager even, and he's doing something at the ATM, and he's, like, swearing at it, like, profusely. And he's like, do you know what's wrong with this ATM? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, this isn't our ATM. Like, it's literally a Reliant ATM. Like, we're not in charge of it. Like, if there's a problem with the ATM, the bank will come and, like, fix it. And he's like, if this ATM doesn't give me my card back, I'm going to come over there and smash your face in. Okay, do it. Do it. I want my paycheck. Like, the audacity of people. And the list keeps going. Okay? The list keeps going. Okay? So then, this has the theme of why it's important to participate in active listening. Okay? So I have this woman, and she comes up to me, and she's like, there's like, I have like these blueberries right here, but like, there's like no other blueberries or strawberries out. And I'm like, okay, well, like, I can go like look in the back if you like want them. And she's like, oh, well, like, there's like no one here. And I'm like, the person's not here, so do you want me to go look for you? And she's like, oh yeah, that would be great. If you listened to what I said to you in the first time, the comment you made after that was unnecessary. You didn't need, like, people just want to complain and complain and complain and not listen. People just want to run their mouth, and that's it. And I don't get why. Yeah, I could have asked her, well, do you want me to go look for you in the back? And she could have been like, yes. That's it. That's all she had to say. And we, had to go through this whole, oh my God, I can't. And then I had this other guy, okay? And he bought a $5 newspaper and handed me a $100 bill. And so I'm like, okay, that's ridiculous, but whatever. I give him his $95. And, I count it in front of him because, he gave me 100. I'm supposed to count out 50s and 100s with the change. And he counts it 2 more times in front of me. And he goes, yeah, I'm $5 short. I literally say to him, well, your newspaper isn't free. And he's like, oh, you got me. You got me. You got me. Moral of the story is, don't work customer service. Don't do it. Try to avoid it as much as possible, because it's just so exhausting. It's just so exhausting, guys. Just avoid it if you can. And if you can't, cross your heart and hope for something better. Like, honestly. But, yeah, other than, this terrible stuff that's been happening in the past couple of days, because there's more than, just that. Okay. Other than that, not a lot has been going on. And, I do have some updates for you guys. I didn't read a book. I didn't read a book, like I said. Got me. Just like the guy at the grocery store, you got me. I didn't read a book. But I did participate in what I did say about analyzing, the chillness of it's fine. It's fine. And I have been self-aware, and I have been cognizant of, when I'm using that phrase, and just being like, is what's going on like truly okay? And I've been really just thinking that over, and we've been going through it and stuff like that. And I think it's been going good. As long as I'm working on that and just like not being passive, that's like the main goal. Is, you should never be passive. You should always be, people, are like, you can learn to be assertive. You're not born passive and that's how you are the whole life. Take Vanessa Van Edwards. Let's bring her up again. She is a recovering awkward person. She was not, someone who is very assertive, but now through her capability of growth and learning, how to be more communicative and learn people's body cues and stuff like that, she's become more assertive and more powerful with herself. And we can all do that. So, and, I would say that I'm pretty assertive, but, we can all grow in areas. And so that is one way that I'm growing, and just being really in tune with myself and stuff like that. So, yeah. Okay. So, I have my car now, which has been phenomenal. And obviously, I got my car and I was like, immediately, I'm signing up for the gym. And that has been going great. I've been 2 times so far. This week is my first full week. Oh, by the way, I'm filming this on February 4th, if you all are interested in knowing that. Okay, so it's February 4th. And this week is my first full week of going to the gym. And I'm happy about it. I feel great. I'm, trigger warning if calorie counting and this, like, whole diet thing, is, like, triggering. I'm not going to talk about it a lot, but, just, like, I will, like, mention it and stuff like that in this section. So, but I've been, like, meal prepping and stuff like that, and that's just been really hard. Because, I have to, like, oh, this is a 4th cup broccoli, this is a 4th cup rice, this is a 4th cup water, this is, how much chicken, and, stuff like that. Because, like, my one big thing is I need to make sure that when I'm in a calorie deficit, which I definitely am because I only eat 2 meals a day. But then I also need to make sure that I'm eating enough protein. I'm not eating enough protein, but I'm eating more than I normally would, which is a great sign. So, because really, the goal is to never be thin, okay? That should never be the goal. Screw society and societal norms and society standards of you have to fit this, beauty perfect mold and stuff like that, have, abs and yada yada. Okay, abs, yeah, would be nice. You want to know what I'm looking for? To be in shape and to, like, lose, like, the stuff on my sides. Like, that's it. That's really what I'm looking for. If I progress and I get to the point where, like, I'm, like, in shape and, like, like, muscles protruding and you can see, like, my muscles through, like, my shirt and, like, the hardness of, because, right now it's soft. But, like, if, like, there comes a point where, like, the hardness, like, that softness goes away and it's, like, like, all the power to me. All the power to me. Like, I'm taking control of this and I'm doing what I want to do. And you know what? Like, I want to be comfortable at the beach. Like, I don't, want to be self-conscious about, like, oh, people are looking at me. Like, is that a wrong reason to work out? Sure. Like, I should be doing it for me. But, there's always going to be outside factors that we have to be aware of. And, like, you always need to make sure that you're doing everything for you. That is the most important thing that you should be doing. But however, recognize that there also may be contributing factors, and it's okay to recognize that. It's okay to recognize that I want to be comfortable at the beach and be like, oh, I'm not the most attractive person here because look at me. I'm insecure. You know, and it's something that I try not to be insecure about because God made me in His image, and being insecure about how He made me and what He made me to be. I don't want to be like, oh, shame on you for, making your creation the way that you did. I don't want to do that. And so it's been nice to just like be able to like involve. And because one thing that like every single time I start going to the gym and like my stepbrother was like, oh, well, like you need to like count your calories and stuff like that. And I'm always hesitant because I don't want to get myself in a place where I restrict myself, or I'm eating too much, or I feel guilty about the foods that I eat, or, etc. Calorie counting, just like, it can be detrimental. And there are dietitians that I follow, who I love, and they're also against calorie counting, and they go for intuitive eating, and they go, there's this one thing I love, and I do it sometimes, but like, you basically just get a bowl or a plate and you put the things that you want on it. Okay? A couple carrots, a couple crackers, a couple pieces of cheese, one Oreo. Like, you're putting healthy things that will fill you. Okay? Grains, dairy, put the things that will satiate you onto the plate, but also put, 10 potato chips on it, or one Oreo and one chocolate chip cookie. Like, don't restrict yourself from it, but also let yourself enjoy it in the amount that you should enjoy it in. You shouldn't be eating 12 chocolate chip cookies, but like, intuitive eating, do what you want to do, but also fall in line to what do you believe your body needs, and what do you believe will satisfy you in a way that progressively makes your health better. And that's different for everyone. It's different for everyone. Me, I know that I probably don't get a lot of like vitamin. I'm very worried that like I don't take in enough vitamins. Like potassium. That comes from bananas. I rarely ever eat bananas. You know, salt. I don't really put salt on my food. I really only put salt on like my fries. Okay? Am I getting enough salt in my diet? And so like that, like in this, like I'm making sure that like eggs, when I eat eggs for lunch, I put salt in that. Okay? I'm getting sodium. Okay? So through this, I just want to make sure that I'm getting vitamins. And so like if that's like an orange, or I'm eating broccoli. Greens are great for trying to slim out. And I just really want to be cognizant of my body, learn to become in tune with it, learn to know when it's hurting, when it's ready to go, when it's hungry, when it's not hungry. And I don't know. I think the process is beautiful, but I also think with, it takes a mindset shift, obviously, because, we're talking about, being healthy and not being healthy. You don't want to lead into disordered eating. And this is a very, mental health conscious channel. Okay? Like, that will always be an emphasis. You never want to go into disordered eating. Been there. Okay? And that's why I'm partially worried. However, I've grown a lot, and I don't have the destructive mindsets that I did, when I was younger. And when, I tried to do this, that it just wasn't cutting it. I was just very in my head about it. But, we've become a different person, and becoming healthy in your mind allows everything else around you to become healthy. And like today, I wasn't really, I went in to work at 10 a.m. I wasn't really able to eat after that. And, you know, I had my protein shake in the morning, and then that's really all I had from 10 to 2. Um, and so while I was at work, you know, the person, we have like a bakery deli section, and they made donuts. And I was like, I'm probably not going to be meeting my goal for today. I'm going to enjoy a donut just so I'm getting some calories. You know, that's nothing to be ashamed about. That's nothing to be ashamed about. Because, you know, you need the calories, you know? Like, I'm already not going to be making my goal. You know, I'm not going to be meeting it. I might as well enjoy something that will give me a boost so I can at least get more calories in me. Because, TBH, I'm probably not going to make it over 1,000 today. And that's not good. I recognize that, okay? I recognize that. But, anyways, enough talking about that. Okay, so that's just an update. I'll keep you updated on the gym, you know, and just like, and like, if I find any like new meals that I'm making. Right now, I'm just sticking to broccoli, brown rice, broccoli, black beans, and chicken. That's what I'm eating right now. Then that, and that's what, and you know, I'm like meal prepping and stuff like that. So, but enough talk about that. Okay, so let's talk about Grays, because obviously we have to do the Gray update. So, I'm in the middle of season 7. Listen, I know it's crazy. Every single time I feel it's a season has gone by. Okay, so much has happened since the last time you saw me. So, I have a lot of notes. Okay, and a lot of this is going to be pertaining to Hunt and Christina, because they've been like a highlight of my mind. So, Jackson kissing Christina, weird. That was weird. So thankful it's done. Okay, Izzy came back for like an episode. Thank God she's gone. Okay, and then it was really weird. This was my mindset. Okay, so there was like a section where Hunt told Teddy, okay, that because they have like this weird thing going on where Teddy was like, oh, I love you, and Hunt was like, well, I'm with Christina, and all this yada yada. Okay, so Hunt was like, hey, Weber, can you get like a new cardio person? And he was like, sure. Well, Christina found out about that, and Hunt and Christina were, you know, talking about that in the hallway, and she was like, I can't believe you did that. Well, guess who heard? Teddy. And so Teddy was, you know, all up upset, and, you know, Christina and Hunt broke up, and all this yada yada. And Hunt went on this I'm not dating anyone right now, which was just like, who cares? No one cares about you. No one cares about your dating life. No one, like, can you just, like, leave me alone? Really is the mentality that I have about Hunt, which is really weird because I actually agreed with him on something. So, like, okay, before I talk about that, there was a shooting in the hospital. Okay, people died, people were traumatized, yada yada. Okay, so the shooting happened, season 1 starts, and Hunt and Christina are engaged. So they went from not dating to shooting, and now they're engaged. That's called trauma bonding. Yet again, they trauma bonded the first time, and now they're trauma bonding again, which is interesting. Now they're officially married. They're like in, you know, their apartment, like, oh, like, let's decorate. Christina's going through her mental health crisis of, I don't want to be a surgeon, but now she's a surgeon again, and she's just going through it. And, you know, we have to support her. We do. We have to be understanding. And, you know, she's going through it. And so I don't blame her for anything. But you want to know what's weird? And I hope if you guys seen Grays, I hope you thought this was weird too. It was very, like, it gave me fetish when Hunt was like, I've always wanted to wash Christina's hair. It's giving race fetish. It's giving, like, I'm obsessed with, like, Asian people. And, like, because, like, okay, Christina is Korean and like she has like a Jewish stepfather and okay, she's Korean. And so like for a white ginger man to be like, oh, I've always wanted to wash Christina's hair. That's weird. You're weird. You're literally weird for that. Okay. And again, it's just another thing to add to the Owen Hunt list. Okay. Now let's get into it. There was this time where Meredith and Christina, basically Owen and Christina like on like this thing. Okay. And Meredith was over, Meredith like had Christina over and they were like sitting in the living room. And Owen Hunt doesn't knock. He just barges into the room soaking wet because of the rain. Okay. Doesn't take off his shoes. Doesn't get a warm welcome. And he's like, what does he say? I wrote it down. Oh, yeah. He was like, you can leave me, but I'm never going to leave you. And, yo, I've always stuck by your side, so you stuck by my side when I was in help, so I'm going to stick by your side no matter what. And I was like, oh, period. Oh, period. Like, I can, like, actually agree with you for once. And which was like, a really interesting thing. Because I don't agree with Owen on almost anything. And I don't like him at all. But I will give benefit of the doubt. And I will give credit where credit's due. You know, Owen Hunt, you said one good thing. Okay, that doesn't make you a good person. That doesn't mean that I love you. It just means that you had a momentary change of character, which was, you know, beneficial for once. So, and then the last thing, was I found it so, okay, so Arizona got like this grant to go to like Malawi and like help like tiny sick humans for 3 years. And like Callie was gonna go with her, but then like Callie didn't want to go, and so like Callie stayed, and like they fought in the airport and they broke up. And you know, Callie was all upset about it, but then she got angry, and you know, whole anger, denial, sadness, whatever, the whole 5 stages of grief. Okay, she went through that. And then Arizona ends up coming back and knocking on the apartment door, and she was like, oh my gosh, I was so happy to be in Malawi. And then all I could do was cry because you weren't there. And Callie slams the door in her face. And I was like, period. Period. Because, like, that's funny. That's funny. And, like, Callie has every right to be upset because, like, what? You're going to go to Malawi and break up with me? And then you're going to come back here expecting everything to be fine? And expecting me to just, like, get over what happened between us at the airport? Doesn't make sense. Okay. And yeah, that's the Grace update. So, and it's like, you know, like, because of the whole, like, shooting thing, you know, like, trauma is, like, such an interesting thing. And that's what really season 7 is, like, exploring, is just the aftermath of the trauma, which is just wonderful because season 8, the airplane crash happens and, you know, Lexi dies and Mark Sloan dies, rest in peace, and, you know, Arizona gets her leg cut off, and, you know, it's funny, Lexi was eaten by wolves. and Christina had to, like, watch. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, the fact that, like, they put that in the show, and, like, all Christina was like, where's my shoe? That's a whole meme. I don't know if you've seen that, guys. The whole, like, where's my shoe from Christina. It's a great meme. Okay, it's, like, not funny. It's not funny, but it's the only way that I can, like, talk about this is because, like, it's just so sad. It's literally so sad. But, like, season 7 is just really just exploring the trauma of, you know, mass shootings and the trauma that comes upon you. You know, okay, Christina was held at gunpoint, you know, while she was trying to fix Meredith's husband, you know, who is Derek Shepherd. And, you know, the gunman is, you know, wants Christina to let him die because that's why he shot up in the hospital in the first place, was because of Derek Shepherd. And, you know, she was traumatized by that. Meredith was like, oh, shoot me instead, you know, okay, Meredith. And, she lost her baby. Jackson was traumatized because, he lost two friends because one of his friends was shot in the head, then the other one was shot in the gut, and then Bailey was traumatized because the guy that was shot in the gut died in her arms, and Bailey almost died because she, like, the guy because he had like this whole vendetta against surgeons because they killed his wife, and and Bailey was like, oh, like, I'm a nurse, I'm not a surgeon, like, don't blame me, and he like saved her and stuff like that. It was just, everyone was traumatized, and I'm grateful because One Tree Hill did not explore, the trauma of that shooting. I mean, they did with Peyton, but like, okay, but um, just like, it's been interesting to watch, especially with like fresh eyes because I'm rewatching it again. Um, and just like it's just like you can think about how like trauma affects us in our lives, and like if I were to go through something extreme like that, where like I lost like a really close friend, like I can imagine how I would probably be in shambles just like Christina. Like I feel like having, yeah, like the fact that she still completed successfully the operation on Derek Shepard at gunpoint is just astounding. And like like I can imagine what would and like this happens in real life. This happens in real life, and people bounce back and people don't bounce back. And I think it really just takes a perspective shift of just a severe amount of empathy. Um, because like me, like I've never gone through anything extreme like that. So like I can imagine people who are in terrorist attacks, or who have been in shootings, or have lost everything in the fire, or I like nothing extreme has happened to me, but empathy is learned. And you see things like this on TV and you're like, wow, this happens in real life. And it just, and I think it also this type of stuff allows you to just internalize what's gone on in your own life. And I think about the things that like I've gone through, and like the things I've gone over, and the things I still need to heal from. And I'm just like, I'm so thankful that the dark place is over, because it's healing is not linear. It will never be linear for everyone. It doesn't matter how small or how big the trauma is. Healing is not linear. And so, and I think that's very apparent in Meredith and Christine in the show. I'll use them as a parallel. Meredith is a whippersnapper. Her husband lived, she, went through therapy and she wrote it out. Christina, she fell apart and she quit surgery, and now she's back into it. But that took her a long time. Healing is not linear. It's okay if the people around you look like they're healing and look like they're in a better place than you. That's okay. And it's okay to validate yourself in that, and to be like, I'm not in a place right now where I can do XYZ. However, if you have a growth mindset and you're like, but one day I will, completely okay. But it's also okay to be like, this is just where I am right now, and this is what I'm dealing with, and I can't do anything right now. Because it's important to focus on yourself. It's important to don't focus on other people. Don't focus on helping them. Don't focus on, because it's about you. When you go through something that needs processing, like trauma and stuff like that, like, it's okay to make it about you. At least in my opinion. It's okay to make it about you. Because it's no one else's trauma. Like, you are the person going through it. You are the person that went through it. And you're the person that allows it to control you, or to make you a better person, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? And that's never going to be the same for everyone. However, it's beneficial to recognize where you're at. Where are you at in your journey? And let's take a second. Let's take a second to ask ourselves, think of something that has affected you and maybe has caused something in your life to be traumatic, okay? Where are you at in your healing journey with that? Where have you allowed that to take you? How have you allowed it to affect your relationships? How has it allowed you, have you allowed it to affect how you view yourself, how you view other people, how you view the world? You know, because trauma shifts your perspective. It shifts your perspective. And in a biblical perspective, you know, and this is something that like I'm talking about in my book, you know, the enemy of our souls, okay, the devil, will give you trauma to distort the image of God and to distort what he has created, okay? But, you know, through my research and sort of, you know, the things that I've been learning, you know, the enemy only distorts the original creation, okay? It never completely gets rid of it, okay? So if you are here and all of a sudden your mom dies, okay, and that leads you down a destructive path, okay, God never forgot his original plan for you. God never forgot the original creation, the original intent. He never forgot the plan of your life. So the enemy may disrupt it and defile it and make it dirty and distract you and do all this stuff. However, that does not take away from the fact that our God is a masterful God with a masterful plan that has everything laid out. And while there may be bumps and there may be bruises and there may be pain and there may be sadness and loss and all these things because we live in a fallen world, we also have a God whose promises never fail and who loves us unconditionally. And his creation is never lost. It's only distorted. And I think that's beautiful. And I think that's beautiful. And while these characters in Grey's Anatomy are fictional, okay, we can then learn that Christina, you know, the shooting defiled her love for surgery. It defiled it. It was like she, you know, held at gunpoint doing surgery. I of I can empathize with her and understand why she would want to quit. But she found her purpose again. She got that life rejuvenated into her through another shooting in episode 11, season 7. You know, she helped a boy who then ended up to be the shooter of that school, college, I forget what it was, okay? You know, but through her trauma, she was able to save a life, even though it was a shooter. And they explain it in the show, you know, like, you know, you're not judge or jury, you know, like, you take a vow, you take an oath to save life no matter what it is. And she found her purpose. And that original intent for her life came back. And it's all parallel. I think it's parallel. You know, you may agree with me, you may not agree with me, but you know what? It's beautiful nonetheless. It's beautiful nonetheless. Okay, so now that we're sort of like talking about my book. Okay, like my book, I haven't explained it yet. I said that I was going to explain it in like episode 1 or 2, never did. Okay, so basically, my book that I'm writing is like a rom-com in the beginning turned contemporary romance fiction. And it's basically commentary about how trauma affects intimate relationships. And basically the theme of the book is, again, like I said, trauma defiles the intent of things. It defiles the image of things, okay? So you have a once happy kid who goes through something so severe and traumatic in his life, and it distorts his whole reality. However, he still has dreams of being happy, of having joy, of being married, of having kids. However, He doesn't think it's reachable because of the things of his past and the things that have been done to him and the things that he has gone through. He doesn't think it's achievable because he doesn't think he's worth it. He doesn't think that he deserves it. He thinks all these things about himself. To explain the plot, basically you have Anthony Jackson, who is 33 in the beginning of the book. Okay, he's 33 in the beginning of the book. And he is working on his PhD, and he is a professor of journalism and English at the University of Chicago. And Sarah Andrews is is working at the University of Chicago, Illinois, and she's a professor of psychology. And she has her PhD, and she's younger than him. And they end up meeting in like a coffee shop, and it's like an enemies to lovers. Okay, like not like enemies to lovers, like academic rivals. Because like he's all prideful and like, oh, like you're younger than me and you have a PhD, like whatever. Okay, like so petty. Okay, but he, stuff happens, and obviously it's a romance, so they're obviously gonna get together. But and I don't want to spoil, like the whole thing, but it's a journey of all these things that happen in their relationships connected to his trauma and how he lets his trauma dictate how he lives his life and how he views his relationships and how he views the people in his life. And the overarching theme is you cannot let your trauma stop you from obtaining joy. Because self-fulfillment is the goal. Okay, we all have goals in life. When you're a child, you can have goals of being an astronaut and, having a family, just like he did. And something happens to you and you lose it. You lose your passion. You lose your love. Stuff happens. We live in a terrible world. But just because we live in an evil place doesn't mean that goodness also isn't achievable. And so his growth throughout the book is achieving that mindset shift. Okay? If I truly want her and I truly love her and I never want to let her go, I have to be vulnerable and I have to be honest and I have to let her in and I have to let her know what's going on in my life. Because if I want her to be in my life for all of eternity, she needs to know me for me. And I need to let her in. And it's the same thing for her. She needs to do the same exact thing. It's a two-way street. Both people need to be contributing to the relationship. But it's hard because trauma is hard, especially severe trauma. When you get into like the psychology of it and specific types of trauma that he's gone through and stuff like that, like it's steps. It's not linear. Again, healing is not linear. It's taken him 33 years to get to the point where he's like, I want a serious relationship. 33 years to get to that point. And now that he has it, what is he going to do? What is he going to do? Is he going to let his trauma dictate him and control him and bog him down and do all this stuff? Or is he going to take a stand and live the life that he wanted to live all those years ago and become the man that he wants to become? But also, this is also commentary on just relationships in general. Narcissism and the things that build and destroy relationships. There's arguments in this book, quotes right out of my family's fights. Quotes. I'm not even kidding. I have used actual dialogue that I've heard and written down and put into the pages. My goal for this is realism. And also my goal, because this book is very specific, you know, you think of books like A Little Life, which is basically trauma porn. I don't want that. I don't want that. However, I want to reflect. I want to reflect that psychology. Because I believe, unlike A Little Life in the author wanted someone who was not capable of being saved. However, you may believe that that's true. However, I'm a believer, and I believe that God can save people from the deepest depths of things. And this isn't a Christian book by any means. There's a section that faith is incorporated, but it's not a Christian book. Okay. But I personally believe that only God can save people from anything, and taking God out of the equation, okay, I do believe that people can come back. You hear stories of people sold into slavery, and trafficking, and drug addiction and stuff like that, and how they've changed their lives around. I've seen it firsthand. How people have gone from something so broken and so beautiful to something so broken and just so dark to something so beautiful and obtainable. But it was a journey. It was a journey, and it was hard, but they got there. And that's what I want the message to be. That's what I want the message to be, is you can think whatever you want. You may think that your trauma is so deep and so, I'm never going to be able to get through this. However, that, it's a mindset shift again. It takes a specific mindset to believe what you want to believe, and to believe that there are better things out there, and to believe that you can heal. Healing is obtainable for anyone. It's always accessible. You just have to want it. You just have to want it. You have to want to work through it. You have to believe all of these things. You have to have the mindset. And so that's basically a gist. I can talk more about it later when topics arise and stuff like that. And through this, I've been learning, even through this, what I want my relationships to look like, and how I want my communication to look like. And I've really just been looking into words of affirmation, what my love languages are. And, recently a couple things have come up where I've realized that words of affirmation are more important to me than I realized in the beginning, because quality time for me is very important. I love quality time, love talking to my friends. Communication is my one thing that I value over anything else. However, words of affirmation have become more important to me. Maybe it's because I'm in isolation. But things have happened where some guy at work, because we're transitioning to the different store and stuff like that. He works for the company that we're transitioning into, and he was like, "You know what? You've been doing a good job all week." And that lifted my spirit. That did something to me, and I was like, "Ooh, oh, it made me smile." And multiple things like that have happened to me this week, and I'm just like, "Wow, I never realized how important that stuff is to me." And so that's a challenge for everyone. It's to know your love languages, and to know what you want your relationships to look like. And are there things that you can work on? Because you also have to be aware of the other person's love languages, okay? It doesn't matter if you're friends or in a romantic relationship. It doesn't matter what type of relationship it is. You have to recognize the other person and their wants and their needs and stuff like that in order for the relationship to be working. Because, like I said earlier, it's a two-sided street. It's a two-way street, okay? And so I've been talking a lot. And so to close this out, I didn't get to talk about anything that I wanted. It got really deep. That got really deep. But I didn't get to really talk about some of the stuff that I'll talk about in the next episode. But and so to close out, okay, couple things. Stranger Things Okay, that's coming soon. They released a new Fantastic Four trailer. Um, the new what is it? Captain America movie is coming out soon. You know, so many things are happening, like movie wise and TV wise and stuff like that. And so I'm excited for that. Okay, so music rocks. Okay, music recommendations. Here's the music of the week. Okay, Baby Blue Jean by Zach Bryan. I listened to that once, but it was good. Okay, been getting back into Anson Seabra. Okay, been loving him recently. I listened to Hade's album, which has been good. I didn't realize he came up with an album within like the past like 6 months to a year. I forget when it came out, but I didn't realize he came out with it. Um, love that. It's very what I'm into. So I would definitely recommend that if you like, you know, slow music like I've been recommending. Um, and there's just been what's like another one? There's like another album that I've been really liking. Um, what is it called? Um, yes, Kayla Lee. Rotting Fruit off this album is such a great song. But it's a bird watcher. Okay, so EP is called Bird Watcher by Kayla Lee. I'll leave all this music in the description and stuff like that, but go check out all of this music if you're interested. But thank you so much for listening to my rants and to I don't even remember what I talked about. I don't even remember. But it was good to see you. Leave a like down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.